What is up, my people? JaxB.TheRipper here. So we're back with another video on, I'm guessing, Demon versus the Band. I don't know what to name this series. I really don't, but it got good feedback. You guys loved it. So I was like, okay, let's do another one. Why don't we do a segue, since, you know, we talked about Leviathan, we're going to talk about Behemoth. Now I'm going to leave that video down below, or like leave like a little, that thing that comes in the corner. I don't know. But anyways, you're going to see it. So Leviathan, we already talked about the band and the demon itself, the sea serpent. And apparently Leviathan was the one who, there's different stories. Leviathan was the one who destroyed Behemoth, or the Yahweh, or the God, as some people call him, was the one who killed them both, you know. So there's a couple of different stories there. So I'm just gonna read off Behemoth as well as Nergal. So let's start with the band Behemoth. Like, they're known to be like an extreme / black metal band, very popular band from Poland. I believe they're banned and playing in their own country because it's a very, very Catholic country. If I think, because I know I did Metal Around the World Poland, I believe I said that in there, so hopefully I'm remembering everything correctly. Did I see the video beforehand? No. It was many years ago when I did Metal Around the World Poland. But Behemoth is a very well-known popular band. Their lyrics go from Sumerian, Babylonian, Thelema. So, and I believe Nergal is Satanist himself. And not only that, he chose the stage name after the Babylonian god Nergal, or Era sometimes was the god known, which was like the Lord of the Destruction. And we'll get into that a little bit more too. Sorry, getting like 2 in 1 here, kind of think about it. So there's, by all means, he's probably one of the fewest out there when it comes to putting occult stuff. We're just gonna stick to the occult stuff, left-hand path stuff, pagan stuff, whatever you want to call it, into his work, and that he knows, or the band knows itself, what they're talking about. Because 99% of these bands don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You're probably gonna be hearing me say that in almost every fucking video. But no, he is very educated on this kind of path as well. He knows what he's talking about. You look at his lyrics, you know, your band itself is a very, I don't want to say mainstream, because mainstream is a little bit like Ghost, but it's a very well spread out throughout all types of rock and roll lovers, I should say, like from the alt kids to I shouldn't say kids because a lot of them are my age now, so why am I calling them that? Like from scene to emos to goths, especially. Goths will know fucking Behemoth with no problem. But it's definitely a band that is very well spread out and very well loved. And I've seen them live, you know, I think at Mayhem Festival. I want to say it was like 2009. Great performance. I just hate the fact that they were in broad daylight performing, because I think we all agreed black metal bands or any of those kind of like shock bands, I don't do well during the day outside in the fucking desert. It's like, it's something you need to see like at night, or at least during sunset or something. But anyways, let me read who Nergal is, and then we're gonna get into Behemoth. So, according to French demonologist Charles Burbangier, I can't say that last name, three-volume work, Les Fardets, Nergal is the minister of hell and the chief of the secret police. The title seems only fitting considering that in the earlier days, Nergal was a fierce warrior who later became the lord of the underworld. In Assyrio-Babylonian myth, Nergal ruled the land of dust and tears with his wife Ereshkigal, who was so nasty she tortured and killed her own sister. Since one of Nergal's symbols was the sickle, he may have helped to influence later images of the Grim Reaper. Nergal is also described as Hell's chief of secret police in the A.E. White Book of Black Magic and Pacts, as well as Colin de Plancy's Dictionnaire Infernal. Nergal, or Era, however you want to call him, he just kind of did shit for his own, you know, because he was just destructive. That's what I learned. I'll put a video to the deity Nergal down below, but it was almost like he just kind of did shit on his own because he was destructive. That's it. But supposedly he was a very powerful Babylonian one to work with, especially if you were to call on him for protection or any kind of, you know, work that require you to be victorious. He will make sure of that. Okay, now let's look for Behemoth. Okay, now that we talked about the band, we talked about Nergal. Well, we never talked about Nergal himself. I mean, I don't know much about the guy. I kind of don't care knowing about it. It's funny because I like the music and I like the band. I don't really care about Nergal that much. I really don't care about him. I know he's from Poland. I know he was raised Catholic, and he at a young age he learned how to play guitar, and supposedly the band is now, you know, banned from playing there. But I remember when he made up the lie about like how the YMCA was like being discriminated against him and kicked him out. And then he later admitted that he was lying. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's why I didn't feel like looking into him. I was like, oh, you're kind of weird, dude. Okay. Right, Behemoth, the great beast described in detail in chapter 40 of Book of Job as a terrible power that walks the land, described as a herbivore that eats grass as an ox. Behemoth, nevertheless, a fearsome, deadly beast. The creature has bones like iron and brass, with a tail so powerful that it sweeps with the strength of cedar. I've never seen a real, like, I mean, I've burned cedar, but I've never, yeah, okay. He resides near brooks and fens, and supposedly no snare can entrap him. In later stories, he is depicted as struggling against the great Leviathan, a sea creature equally fierce and powerful. The Behemoth is said to gore the Leviathan with his great horns, as Leviathan leaps from the sea to attack. In the end, God slays both of these horrific beasts with the mighty sword. There are parallels between Behemoth and the creature of Babylonian myth, Behemoth. I hope I say that correctly. I mean, they did say also that supposedly in the Jewish version of the Babylonian and Sumerian monster, Leviathans was supposed to represent Tiamat, which is the one that Zeus slayed. So yeah, many of the traditional biblical depictions of the Behemoth seem to be closely mirrored the mythologic images that show the god Mithra slaying the ox. It is likely that the idea of the Behemoth was at least partly inspired by the Bull of Heaven, a mythic creature tied to the goddess Ishtar that plays a significant role in epic Gilgamesh in Bergerbeer's infernal hierarchy. Behemoth is given a relatively low rank in the demonic hierarchy. He holds a position of grand cupbearer like some infernal Ganymede. Yeah, if I remember correctly, going back to Leviathan, I'm surprised I didn't even say it in that book, in this book, I mean. But he represents envy as one of the 7 deadly sins, if I remember correctly. Okay, so unlike the Leviathan video, I couldn't find anyone that worshiped these two, like the actual, you know, spirit. I couldn't find anything. I don't know much. I asked someone too who I know that works with infernals as well. Doesn't know much either. You know, I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe these deities really just did disappear, or maybe they did killed off, or maybe they're just not worshiping them properly, or you know, maybe Behemoth doesn't want to be called Behemoth. Maybe he wants to be called by the other name I couldn't pronounce. I was like, maybe that's why. Sometimes I know with Anubis, he doesn't want to be called Anubis. He wants to be called Ampu. You know, he's not going to listen to you if you're going to be calling him Anubis. So, you know, I tend to call him both when I'm working with Anubis. I try to call him by both names. You know, because the Anubis one is more Greek from what I've heard. I don't know if that is correct, but that is from what I've heard. So who knows? So maybe they are out there. They're just hard to find, and they just don't really share the information. Who knows? But anyways, yeah, can't give you any of that. Can't give you any, you know, of the sigil. I don't know if they have like a little chant or anything like I did for the one of Leviathan. As always, if you are going to be practicing any of this stuff, make sure you do your research. And don't just be following one person. Okay, I got this message on my Facebook. The guy meant well. I'm not attacking the guy or anything. But let's just say there's more than just E.A. Coetti. And I'm going to leave it there, okay? I like the guy. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate him or anything like that. I'm just saying there is more than just his stuff, okay? There is way more research to be done, okay? So anyways, and always practice, you know, and if you are going to be started working with any of this, even if it's angels, any of them, make sure you strengthen your vessel and which is your, you know, body, mind, spirit, and all that stuff. And make sure you do your research very well and protect yourself at all times, okay? That is it for now. Thank you guys for watching. I need a new outro. This feels weird, but anyways, thanks you guys for watching. I hope you guys, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but if you do, you know, have fun. Eat a lot. Bye.